In the early months of the 2024 season, Draymond Green was completely out of control. First, he tried to choke Rudy Gobert during a scuffle he wasn't even involved in. He got suspended for 5 games. Then, weeks later, he sucker punched Jusuf Nurkic with a spinning fist.
Green just such a great passer.
Beal just picked up his 3rd foul. And now Green runs over.
Given his track record, the NBA had had enough. Draymond was suspended indefinitely and forced to complete behavioral requirements before returning. He missed 12 games in total. But believe it or not, that's nowhere near the longest suspension in NBA history. Today, we're counting down the wildest, most jaw-dropping NBA suspensions of all time. No lifetime bans, just the most insane punishments ever handed down. 25 game suspensions. Let's start with Ja Morant. Once considered the future face of the league, Ja's image took a massive blow in 2023. During an Instagram Live in May, he was seen brandishing a handgun inside a nightclub. Just when the dust started to settle, he went live again weeks later. Same situation, same mistake. This time, the NBA wasn't lenient. They handed him a 25-game suspension, citing concerns over his influence on young fans and the league's public image. Social media erupted. Some fans supported the punishment, while others called it excessive, claiming the NBA was over-policing image over reality. Memes, debates, and outrage flooded every basketball forum. Ja's sponsors went quiet. Nike paused promotion of his signature shoe. The league had to walk a fine line, send a message, but not destroy a career. He wasn't the only one hit with a 25-game ban. Other names include DeAndre Ayton, Tristan Thompson, John Collins, Wilson Chandler, and Jody Meeks, all suspended for violations of the NBA's anti-drug policy. Though less dramatic than Ja's case, those suspensions were reminders that the league keeps a tight grip on drug regulations. Fans generally accepted these rulings as standard NBA discipline. 26-game suspension. To truly understand how serious things can get in the NBA, you have to go back to the late 1970s. Kermit Washington of the Houston Rockets delivered what is still considered the most devastating punch in league history. During an in-game altercation, he turned and swung at Lakers forward Rudy Tomjanovich. Not knowing Rudy was sprinting toward him to break up the fight. The punch crushed Rudy's face, fractured his skull, and caused spinal fluid to leak into his brain. He was hospitalized for months. Doctors said he was lucky to survive. The NBA handed Kermit a 26-game suspension, which at the time was unprecedented. Public reaction was fierce. Some called for a lifetime ban. Others blamed the culture of aggression in the league. The incident forced the NBA to rethink its rules around on-court violence. Kermit's name became forever linked with the darkest moment in NBA history. Even decades later, fans and analysts still reference the punch as a turning point in league safety standards. 30-game suspensions. Stephen Jackson was suspended for his role in the infamous Malice at the Palace. It was one of the ugliest nights in NBA history, a game between the Pacers and Pistons that turned into an all-out brawl.
I'm not sure. He'd have to walk past the Pacer bench to go. Now Artest has jumped over the scorer's table and is trying to get down to the bench. Artest is in the stands. Oh, this is awful. Fans are getting involved. Stephen Jackson's in the fan.
After a fan threw a drink at Ron Artest, chaos erupted. Artists charged the stands and Jackson followed, swinging wildly and landing a punch on a Pistons fan. The league reacted swiftly. Jackson was suspended for 30 games. The fallout was massive. Public opinion was split, but most agreed it marked a turning point for league security. The NBA introduced stricter rules for player-fan interactions, and the incident sparked larger conversations about race, athlete behavior, and media narratives. Miles Bridges was also suspended after a domestic violence accusation. He didn't contest the charges, and video footage of the incident caused a wave of outrage online. The NBA counted 20 games missed while he was a free agent and added 10 more once he signed with the Hornets in 2023. Critics blasted the league for going soft, especially given the graphic nature of the evidence. Many believe Bridges should have been suspended for an entire season or more. The decision reignited debates over how seriously leagues take domestic violence and whether star power influences punishment. 38-game suspension. Javaris Crittenton, Washington Wizards, 2010. Once a promising young guard with enormous potential, Crittenton's NBA career derailed in the most shocking way imaginable. During a locker room dispute over a gambling debt, he brought a firearm into the team facility and aimed it at his own teammate, Gilbert Arenas. The confrontation stunned the sports world. Teammates were terrified. The NBA moved quickly and suspended Crittenton for 38 games. But that was just the beginning. Crittenton never suited up for another NBA game. He fell out of the league and deeper into a troubled life. In 2015, he was convicted of manslaughter and assault in an unrelated case involving gang activity and the tragic death of a young woman. He was sentenced to 23 years in prison. After serving nearly a decade behind bars, he was released in 2023 as part of a plea agreement. A chilling example of wasted potential. And one of the darkest off-court stories in NBA history. 50-game suspension, Gilbert Arenas. Yes, the other player involved in the same locker room incident. He also pulled a gun, though unloaded, and pointed it at Crittenton in return.
But I think this is just a case of being immature and not realizing the consequences of what could happen.
Already under scrutiny for firearm possession, this was the final straw. The NBA suspended him for 50 games. Once a superstar and fan favorite, Arenas never fully recovered his career. That moment defined his downfall. 59-game suspension. Ime Udoka, head coach of the Boston Celtics in 2022. He was suspended for the entire 2022 to 2023 NBA season after violating team policy due to a workplace relationship with a female staff member. What began as a consensual relationship took a serious turn when the staffer reported unwanted comments. Udoka didn't resign, but the team made it clear he would not return. He was later hired as head coach of the Houston Rockets. The scandal raised deeper questions about professional boundaries and how off-court behavior is handled even at the highest levels of leadership. 65-game suspension. Mark Stevens, minority owner of the Golden State Warriors. During Game 3 of the 2019 NBA Finals, he shoved Kyle Lowry after Lowry dove into the crowd trying to save a loose ball. Stevens was immediately ejected, banned from attending any NBA event for a full year, and fined $500,000. Due to COVID-related schedule changes, his actual ban amounted to 65 games. The incident prompted a reevaluation of owner conduct and courtside access rules. 68-game suspension. Latrell Sprewell, Golden State Warriors, 1997. During a practice session, Sprewell physically attacked his head coach, PJ Carlesimo. He grabbed him by the neck and tried to choke him after being criticized for his passing. Originally suspended for 82 games, the punishment was later reduced to 68. The Warriors voided his $23 million contract. The incident remains one of the most infamous player-coach altercations in NBA history. 86-game suspension. Ron Artest, yes, again the malice at the palace. After being hit by a drink thrown from the stands, Artest stormed into the crowd and punched a fan. Then, back on the court, he struck another spectator who entered the floor. The NBA responded with one of the harshest penalties ever imposed on a player. 86 games suspended, 82 regular season plus 4 playoff games. A defining moment that changed league security forever. 93-game suspension. Robert Sarver, former owner of the Phoenix Suns. In 2022, an ESPN investigation revealed a pattern of racist, sexist, and abusive behavior across his tenure. The NBA fined him $10 million and suspended him for the entire 2022 to 2023 season. Under growing pressure, Sarver eventually sold the Suns and the WNBA's Mercury franchise for nearly $4 billion. A landmark case of accountability at the ownership level. 164-game suspension, the longest ever. O.J. Mayo. In 2016, he was suspended for 164 games after testing positive for marijuana and abusing prescription painkillers. There was no official lifetime ban, but this was as close as it gets. Mayo never returned to the NBA. Ironically, marijuana was decriminalized by the league in July 2023. His story is now seen as a cautionary tale about timing, policy, and wasted potential. So, what do you think? Which NBA suspension shocked you the most? Draymond's chokehold, Artist's brawl, OJ Mayo's fall from grace? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw, unforgettable NBA stories every single week.